can you record?
Yeah, and I didn't say hit record. I said hit, and then I paused.
I said I'm hitting record. It's a factual statement.
Even though
I'm hitting record.
It tells us.
And then he starts talking. Yeah, he's just like, I'm going to hit record and then don't talk for 5 seconds. And then Dave hits record and goes, I hit record.
Oh, goodness.
Well, I was doing traffic control for work today because that's my job. And we were doing it up on this street in Eugene called Chambers, which is a pretty big thoroughfare. It was like way up this hill. And I closed the street down and a couple people come by and they're all pissed. They're like, why did you get up to my house? This is ridiculous. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, sorry, the road's closed. Like, fuck off, in so many words. And
I'm working here.
A dump truck for the company that I work for comes by, and the crew lead calls me and he goes, hey, just so you're aware, you guys have now closed down the detour for the water project I'm doing the next block over. Unbeknownst to me, so these upset and angry people had already been directed around, and then I had to direct them around a second time.
That's the detour for the detour.
It was a detour for the detour, and it was the same company, so that we were blocking in two different spots.
That's hilarious.
So that was fun. I've been laughing about that.
Speaking of no communication, did you guys see Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez after the race? And with that, this is the Tire Preference Podcast. Thanks for joining us again this week.
Nice segue.
Thanks. As always, I am Jake. I'm along here with Tyler. You fucking this is audio media. You fucking dog. Just say hi. That's all you have to do.
I said hi with my hands.
Fucking hand. Two people. Maybe one. Like a half a person watches this on YouTube every time and just sits there and watches your two faces talk and my logo speak at them from behind the veil. You choose to wave at them.
I hope you get a new camera soon.
I'm not. All right, and I'm also here with Dave. Please speak something instead of just waving.
Hello.
Just wave. Oh.
Yeah.
God damn it! Like having an ADD brain is really tough when you're podcasting. Because I just thought of like six things to say that are completely derailing the whole thing, and it's just I want to say them, but I won't. Because they're dumb shit. Like, I thought my coworker was going to throw up today on the forklift. And I said, what's wrong? And he goes, I'm having bad acid reflux because I have 2 nicotine tabs in my gums. I'm like, why do you do this? This isn't the first time. I was like, dude, just don't do it anymore.
We do all the bad habits at work. Like, you just you get into a work truck and there's just not a lot of people chew tobacco. Well, they do, or they'll have those like little Zyn pouches, which are like nicotine pouches without. There's fucking empty cans of those everywhere. There's empty energy drink containers in every single work truck. Like,
gross.
Yeah, construction. Fuck yeah.
We had a driver at my work that was fresh out the army or whatever, and he was delivering for like 6 or 7 months, and they always saw him come in with his lunchbox and leave with his lunchbox, and then one day he calls the safety guy at the company, who happened to be a paramedic volunteer firefighter guy. That's why he called him, and he goes, "Hey, I think I'm having a fucking heart attack." The dude's like 28, right? Just fresh out the army, fit as fuck. He's like, "I think I'm having a fucking heart attack." He goes, "I'm definitely having a heart attack." So he happened to be close. The dude just got in his car and fucking drove to the spot. It was like 10 minutes away. He gets there, and sure as shit, this guy's having a fucking heart attack because in his goddamn lunchbox, dude, it was a 4-pack of Monster. That's all he had all day, every day. It was a 4-pack of Monster.
My God.
Yeah. boom, palpitations.
Jesus.
Fucking, yeah. They saved his ass, but fuck, dude. Stay away from them energy drinks. Like, I
didn't you used to drink Monsters like crazy?
Yeah, and I have a Red Bull, once a day, but they're the small Red Bulls. They're not the big dick cans.
I used to drink like one a day or so.
I do pre-workout.
The fucked up thing is I drink the energy drinks on the way home. I don't drink them before work or during where I do it because my work is fucking
What
exhausting.
kind of sociopath are you that drinks? You survived the whole day without caffeine and you fucking drink it on the way home?
Because I don't want to fall asleep on the goddamn couch. I want to hang out with my family. Very physically demanding job. It's like going to work out all day, every day.
I drink. Okay, well, I'm normal, so I drink them in the mornings, and then I just linger in the act. I don't know.
Well, what's the
I'm
what's
down
the
to a
heaviest
cup
thing?
Of coffee, maybe 2 a day.
Like 10-pound flagpole, if that.
It's not. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I gotta lift cones. Sometimes I gotta run in circles and do shit. Sometimes I have to piss customers off.
Sometimes I have to.
Sometimes I have to piss people off because I'm blocking the only way to their house, and I think there's another route. And that other route is out.
He's blocking the detour.
And there's people. They were rightfully pissed, and I'm sure I made their day even worse because I wasn't happy because they weren't listening to my side, unbeknownst to me what they were had just happened to them down the road.
There's nothing more funny than someone who thinks they have righteous indignation when they don't.
I yelled,
you're wrong, motherfucker.
I had to block traffic on this one way just to get her go. I was like, go! And I got all pissed, and now looking back on, I'm like,
Overreaction.
Well,
you know who else overreacted recently? The FIA.
Oh my god, I know.
Which we'll get to after we finish the race.
The whole end of the race was a roller coaster.
The whole end of the race is a fucking ridiculous shit show, and we're going to talk on that a little bit. First, we're going to give you a race breakdown. And then we're going to touch on some light news stories, I think, and we're going to talk about the controversy around Alonso and where he is finishing the race, because he was finishing in a spot, then he wasn't, then he was, and it's just a big hullabaloo, fuck around.
Big hoopla.
Yeah, big hoopla.
And if you're Alpine, I'm sure you're like,
fuck.
Right. Well, so there's a big difference. There's not a big difference.
Well, we'll get
to 0.4 seconds different. Yeah, we'll get into it.
There's a reason why they were allowed to appeal and Alpine wasn't. So let's get to it. We are talking about, of course, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix 2023
in Jeddah.
I love that it's a street circuit, but it looks it just looks like a track. It looks like a normal track circuit, but it's considered a street circuit.
Because I'm sure there was a prince there that was just like they designed it. They're like, this is a racetrack and it's a street circuit.
Tyler, can you give me the air quotes here? It's a street circuit. So basically, it's between like street trim and race trim. It's just the barriers and the walls. They take it down, like the whole road's there. It's all this. Well, I guess you could say that for like every street circuit, but like this one, like no one's driving out there. You drive on that road to get like a picture of the fucking ocean.
Death sentence or something.
Sea, the Red Sea.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's a neat little circuit. I like it.
Yeah, it's a good fun circuit though. Yeah,
it's fun.
I'm pretty sure it's the second longest track on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's right behind Spa.
And it has the most turns, 20 fucking 7 of them.
Yeah, that's a lot of turns. But a lot of them are high speed. I think they were flat out for like almost 80%.
To 7 kilometers.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we talk about Spa.
Yeah, we'll talk about Spa later in the season.
Not soon enough. Yeah, no, it's a neat track. It's been
a night race, always fun.
It's been a night race. It's been it's favored Red Bull. Red Bull's done really well at this track the last 3 years.
Right. And of course, we had Perez on the pole position, and it was kind of interesting. So when you're doing the formation lap, it is a tough balance sometimes because you want to get some speed up so you can get the brakes hot, the tires hot, get the car warmed up and settled in. But if you go too hard and too fast, then you've created a very large gap between you and last place. And the timer for the countdown for the race doesn't start until the last car lines up, because that's fair. So you could have like a point where, I think one race, not this one, but years ago, last year, whatever, there was a point where it was like a 15 to 20 second first place was sat there while they waited for the rest of the cars to drive around. And that is fucking forever.
Oh, yeah, I remember a race like that was like, why are they cooking around so quick? They're just going to be sitting at the starting line. Slow down.
And I thought that fucking Stroll's goddamn brakes were going to set on fire. They were smoking.
Yeah, he was smoking real bad.
I was waiting to just see flames shooting out of that.
Probably would have.
I was like, well, guess who's going to go careening off of turn one? They didn't do that, but
no, unfortunately.
No, but you know who went careening off of their fucking start box? Alonso.
Fernando Alonso. Yeah, he got a really good start.
So, well, not even that, but like
the way he was set up on it.
The way he was set up on the box, he was slightly left. So your tires have to be in the box, and it's hard to see when you are in, first person, I'm driving the car mode. So they have like a separate yellow line they need to line up on. And if you're a rook, you might get off on the side, but fucking Alonso getting off on the side, seasoned vet. Come on, dude.
It's like he was looking at something else when he pulled in.
He's probably looking at something else. He's probably thinking because sometimes the cars will aim a little bit, and they'll aim like slightly in or slightly out, depending on what the better way to go around the track is. And I can see that he might have been doing that, but he done fucked it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's cover that here in a second. How he fucked it up because we got less than a minute.
Yeah. And that's why I fucking hate donuts. So anyway, back to Fernando Alonso.
I feel like Dave had a lot of thoughts that came out like really quickly, and we had no time to process them. Did you see where he lined up? That was crazy. Starcast.
Yeah.
Keeps me to talk during the podcast, and everybody have to hear my stammering and mumbling mess.
You should just share more and be more comfortable. Just be more confident in what you have to say.
Do we need to give Dave the talking marker?
I think so. We're gonna you have a black and white flag for track limits for Tyler and I. We're gonna have a white and black flag for you for getting on the fucking track.
You're too far on the track limits because you have not entered the track yet. So
that's fair.
Dave's driving down the safety roads at the F1 race. I feel like there was an episode of The Simpsons where it was like they were at a go-kart track and Marge was like going really slow. She's like, slow and steady wins the race. That's Dave when it comes to talking on the podcast.
All these guys will be fools when they run out of gasoline.
Yeah. It's like Jake and I are like fucking Red Bull and Mercedes and Ferrari. We're just lapping and lapping and lapping with all the words that we're saying. And Dave's is a Williams in the back going, well, I saved fuel. So, and the point was, we're all having fun.
Yeah, we all.
Or he's telling his team that he's just waiting for us to wreck out.
Yeah.
Waiting for his car to catch on fire, the other one to break a drive shaft.
Oh shit.
No, we appreciate Dave's contributions to the podcast.
Always.
Oh, thank you guys.
No matter how few they are.
Yeah. Now, if you could be silent for the rest of the podcast.
Oh, fuck.
We love Dave. He brings a lot to the podcast.
Dave brings a lot to the podcast.
Sorry,
I didn't mean that to come out of
a self-pity moment.
It's just not words all the time. Dave brings a lot to the podcast, but it's just not words.
I said sandcarstic. I didn't say sarcastic. I said sandcarstic.
Sandcarstic.
I've been having a really fucking hard time saying words. I was trying to say terrace majors at work, and I said Ursa Major 3 fucking times. I was like, we need more Ursa Majors. My coworker's like, what? I'm like, whatever the fuck, the fucking Ursa Majors. And he goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, these fucking cunts, the Ursa Majors, the terrace majors. And he goes, oh yeah, okay. You see Ursa Major? I was like, yeah. He goes, isn't that a fucking star thing? I'm like, yes. It's like the big fucking dipper, you dickhead. Get out of here. Or the bear constellation.
I don't know. I'm a pretty big dipper, but no, ain't nobody talk about me.
Yeah. Double lip dip.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on. Time out. F1. We got to get back to the race.
We got to get back to
F1. I dip up top and downstairs.
And around the cathedral, if you know what I'm talking about. You might have 32 teeth, but 21 of my teeth is keeping the chew from my tongue.
Around the cathedral.
Around the bend. Around turn 1 and turn 10.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Alonso. We touched on a little bit. Yeah, so he fucked up his box, got his box a little fucking too far to the left. So his tires were outside the box, and
just
just a smidge. You got
actually it's quite a bit.
It was quite a bit. It was noticeable enough. Yeah.
So it was noticeable because he got a penalty for that. So it was noticeable enough for that.
It was noticeable enough for that.
Yeah, it was a 5-second penalty on that.
Yeah, it's 5-second penalty, and that was given to him a few laps after the race started because it was pretty fucking noticeable. And so we've talked about it before, but we'll talk about it again real quick. When you get a penalty in F1 and you haven't pit yet, you have to serve that penalty next time you pit. Now, if you've already pit before, so say you've already got your 1 tire change, you don't have to pit for the rest of the race, and you don't pit for the rest of the race, you don't then have to come in to serve the penalty. It just gets tacked on your post-race time.
Yeah.
However, say you've already pit once, change your tires, and you pit again for a second time, you gotta serve your penalty that time. And anytime you hit the pits and you got a penalty on the board, you gotta serve it.
Okay, that's all right. That was a good.
Yeah, you automatically serve it if you go into the pits.
If you go in the pits.
But if you don't, then that's when they could tag. If you get a penalty, for
tack it on at the end.
Yeah, tack it on at the end. Right. And sometimes it works out better for people. Like if you get a 5-second penalty and you don't got a pit, and you can finish the race 6 seconds ahead of the guy behind you, then the penalty really ain't worth fucking shit. Or if you're smart, you can serve the penalty during a safety car.
Yeah.
And it also pretty much ain't worth shit. It's just like having a regular fucking pit stop.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that safety car thing coming up. And then so I was like kind of like texting Tyler back and forth during the race. And there's one moment where I kind of had like a face palm to myself, and I was like, God damn it. So there's one driver that's driving the season that we constantly shit on for good reason.
Yeah, I remember. I know what you're talking about.
For good reason.
Yeah.
And that's Lance Stroll.
Mm-hmm.
But
because he's highly picked on a bull.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
He's
got a very punchable face.
Punchable face. The wet lip doesn't help.
He's just stupid.
The wet lip doesn't help.
Yeah. His mustache is kind of nasty.
Yeah, because it's just his spit is his mustache.
He didn't drive F1, and he's Canadian, so arguably he'd end up being a logger or something. And I can't see him doing
or a hockey player.
Or a hockey player. I can't
He'd probably be a good goalie.
And there was one moment where I'm pretty sure you're about to talk about that just enraged me so fucking bad. And I'm sure you're about ready to talk about, so I'll let you go.
I might, but I don't think I am actually, because
you might be.
What happened was so we were texting back and forth, and then fucking the outside pass on turn
Signs.
13 where Stroll passes Sainz.
Yeah. That infuriated me so bad because it was such a beautiful move.
Oh, the beautiful
I was like,
it was clean.
Fuck,
Yeah,
was
I was
so
like,
good.
fuck him for doing that. You know,
that was
it was a
true
good bit of racing
bleeding through.
And the fact that it was Stroll that did it just enraged me.
It was very upsetting, but I was like, telling Tyler, I'm like, maybe we can't. I mean, we're still going to, but
yeah,
damn, we have to give credit where credit's due on the Tire Preference podcast, and
that was a beautiful pass.
Stroll made a really good pass.
Yeah, and it was against.
I think Annie and
Ferrari.
I talked about the same thing.
I mean, and I don't mean this as a dig against the Ferrari, but like it was a clean pass against a Ferrari, which last season to the seasons prior, we would have the only way that would have happened is like, oh yeah, like Lance Stroll had a clean pass in the Ferrari because it was on fire on the side of the racetrack.
Yeah,
like this was it shows that
Aston Martin came to play,
did their homework, and they're not fucking around this season.
They're not fucking around this season.
Very clean pass. Like they took time in the wind tunnel. They got shit figured out. They made Lance practice.
And he took it on the fucking outside.
On turn 13. That's one of the big sweeping turns that gets you on the backside of the track.
Yeah,
the Ferraris is fast in anything that's not, small technical.
It wasn't like they were drag racing into a hairpin turn. This was a pretty nonchalant move, and Lance didn't look back. He was fucking way ahead by the end.
No, he was very confident going in there. He knew what he was doing. It looked like someone went like when the seasoned vets kind of picked their place. You're like, okay, look, this turn, I've been behind this guy for a few laps now. He's fucking up this turn. Yeah. I'm gonna get him on that turn. It's not a quote unquote passing turn sometimes, like Fernando Alonso over Hamilton last race, but they'll see where they're fucking up and they'll fucking get after
him. Yeah, so we'll give credit where credit's due. So we won't, this week we won't say anything disparaging, like, his mustache was probably disgusting looking at the end of the race from him fucking breathing because his lower jaw sticks out further than his top one.
I hate to say it. I told Annie this while we were watching the race. Like if circumstances, he would have fucking maybe been up near podium status too.
We'll probably see him get another podium this year.
He's got a really good car, and he showed some really good, race. What do they call it?
Racecraft.
Racecraft. That's it.
Right, but he definitely wasn't going to get a podium this time.
Nope.
I
went from enraged to
overjoyed.
Enraged to bummer.
Speaking of disparaging, man, Piastri in the pits in lap 1. He didn't even make a full lap around, and they had him in the fucking pits.
Well, he had some damage to his front wing. I think he lost his front right end plate.
It was an end plate,
front wing,
which are it's pretty important. But fuck, dude, after race 1, and then suddenly lap 1, you have to pit again.
Yeah,
because your car's fucked.
Shit. Yeah, that was a disappointing first race, and then come into the next one and first lap shit like this is happening. It's like, oh
yeah. You know who else made baby steps in this race? Was McLaren, because like they were near the bottom, but they did not have to pit stop every 6 laps.
No,
that was
figured
good.
out how to keep air in their car, which is nice for all the new.
And I saw a really good thing for all the Ricciardo fans out there. That Daniel Ricciardo has the same amount of points this season as the two McLaren drivers combined.
Yes. So good for Ricciardo.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the last couple races he's just been laughing at the TV on Sundays, just thinking about Zach Brown having that Daniel Ricciardo tattoo on his arm.
Well, and I think that Daniel Ricciardo also has the same amount of championship points this year as he did the last 2 years. So consistency is key with him right now.
Yeah.
Good consistency.
As he's like looking at his Red Bull fridge and that Red Bull KTM they gave him when he quit Red Bull the first time, going,
It's like all the Red Bull that was in there when he quit the first time, so it's like all expired and flat.
Yeah, no shit. It's like,
or it's like one of those fake Red Bull containers that's in North Korea. It's just like a cardboard sheet with the printed the printed Red Bulls. It's like big fruit. What?
Big fruit.
Fake fruit.
No, I thought that was the generic name of Red Bull that North Korea uses. It's just like big fruit energy. Because the translation's bad.
It's a crimson cow with horns.
Yeah. But the can's blue.
The people's bowl.
The crimson cow with horns. Other continents call it angry water buffalo.
I know. They got a picture of Max Verstappen up there. It's like Max for North Korean. It's like his face when he's got like Kim Jong-un's haircut.
Like... And it's outdated. So they also have him with a picture of like Mark Webber too.
It's like really young Max.
Yeah.
I race for the People's Republic of North Korea. It's got like a lot of exclamation points on there and just really, really intensely blue eyes. But they changed his hair for some reason.
I'd love to see it'd be like the North Korea sponsors an F1 car, and it's just like an old shelf of an F1 car from the 90s being pulled by like 2 water buffalo.
It's got like 4 donkeys for each tire, like 1 donkey for each tire. Looks like a Flintstones car. It's just a nuclear missile.
It's just a missile. Yeah, it's like a Russian-made nuclear missile
with bicycle tires because they can't figure out the propulsion.
Yeah, and then and we have all-star North Korean driver Danny Kvyat. So it's like a Russian driver too.
So Danny Kvyat and Nikita Mazepin.
Yeah,
They've been outsourced to North Korea.
And the return of the black and white flag.
It was funny. It was funny. I enjoyed it. I feel like the gatekeeper.
You say that with all the confidence of like someone that like, not all the confidence, but someone like you tell an awful joke to and like, yeah, no, that's funny. That's great. that's funny.
It's like the same thing the hot camp counselor said to you when you told her she was pretty. That's funny. Yeah. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like when you tell
another 12-year-old's confidence for the rest of their life.
It's when you tell a dark humor joke to your non-dark humor friends, like, "Ha, that's funny," and you go like, "All right, that was the line." That's.
I keep forgetting we have an F1 podcast.
Oh, fuck off, Dave.
Whatever. We weren't. It was F1 related.
We were talking about F1 stuff.
We go way far away from F1, but it's.
Are you saying that North Korea can't have an F1 team?
Are you saying that they're the furthest country away from having an F1 team? Because have you heard of Russia?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're out too.
I don't know. I feel like there's a couple other countries on different continents that might be a little further off than Russia.
Like what?
I don't think Somalia is going to have an F1 team like anytime soon.
You don't think that they're just as capable as everyone else?
I'm not saying that I don't think they're just as capable of everyone else. I just feel like there's a lot of
there's no funding for
there. Yeah, I wouldn't call it high on their priority list.
Fair enough. So getting back to F1 stuff. So this happened toward the beginning of the race, and I think it was actually really good that this happened. So Leclerc started.
Yep, that was good. He started, 12th. And that happened at the start of the race.
Right, and... Leclerc started 12th. So Leclerc started 12th, Sainz started 4th. So they already kind of knew that Leclerc probably wasn't going to perform. So I don't want to say they didn't think he was going to perform very well because they might have thought that, and that's just sad for me to call that out. But
they weren't putting money on him.
No, they weren't. So what they did, which I thought was really nice, is they put him on the softs because the softs were kind of untested, and it was a good strategy basically because they had Sainz on the preferred tire, which was the medium, and they sent him into the race, said fight, fight, fight. Meanwhile, let's collect data on Leclerc, on them sops, and find out how well they do, which you see with Alpine, not Alpine, AlphaTauri is really good at doing this. Alfa Romeo's been doing this in the past. A lot of the lower teams will do this, where if there's a big gap between the drivers, they'll stick one of the drivers on the less desired tire just to get hard data. And that's what they did with Sainz. So I was really kind of glad, not so much that they were put in that position, but I was glad that they chose to get out of it.
Yeah. Like they actually make a good decision for once.
Hey, in real time, we could have some good data. Let's give this a shot.
And they were able to fucking do a proper pit strategy when that safety car came in, the full safety car, because on turn 13
was fucking, I don't know why they went full safety car.
Yeah, no shit.
That should have been virtual at best. Maybe even not, because the way he pulled off, he was like out of the way, completely off track.
He was way out of the firing line, and you're not wrong, and he was off track. But what the announcers I was listening to were saying, and which I could kind of get, is this track was already super serious about safety, so much to the fact that fucking Logan Sargent in qualifying got a time deleted because he was too far off turn 27, a turn you can't go too far off on. It turned out that he was actually too far over on the pit line, but that's completely other stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, but they call it on turn 27.
They call it on turn 27 because of the last turn. So I think what had happened was...
What happened?
Lance Stroll probably aimed for the door, right? Saw it, was going for it, and stopped just shy of it. And they thought he was still in the firing line, quote unquote. So they overcompensated and just called for a full safety car immediately. And then the series of events could have been like Lance Stroll going up, stopping too early, them going full safety car, then Lance Stroll kicking the power back on, and then driving out of the track, thinking, I thought I had more room to coast, whatever the fuck. Doesn't matter. I don't think it was Stroll's fault, as much as I would love it to be Stroll's fault. I don't think it was. This was definitely trigger-happy stewards, which,
because he got out of the way. I mean, he was in a spot where they could pull his car right out.
100%. I think that there's something to the, when the virtual safety car, if it's a small thing, slow everyone down like you're getting a piece of carbon fiber off the track. That's fine. But like having the full safety car, like, adds another element in my mind of excitement to it, because you might have built a huge gap and now it's down to nothing. And who lucked out on pit stops, and it can totally like change a race.
Right.
And I think can make it a little more exciting, especially if a race is getting kind of stagnant and boring.
It can when it's the right call, though.
You're not wrong. You are 100%
right. No, I'm just saying. It's like, well, I mean, I know they're a little trigger. I mean, but that's a virtual safety car. I mean, I saw what they saw. They saw more than I saw, and I saw a virtual safety car. They saw.
I will give you that one. Reason. That one probably could have been a virtual safety car, but
granted, I saw it hours and hours later. But
so I watched the race live, and the footage that I watched, it was definitely like so it's kind of funny. You could, whenever I see a yellow flag or a flag or whatever, my eye catches that, right? So I always look immediately to the time board on the side of the screen. Who's falling down? Who's tumbling down the position? Yeah, especially early in the race. And it was Stroll.
Is it a Ferrari? Oh my god!
Right. I mean, you're always looking, but you're never hoping. So it was a fucking Aston Martin, which I don't know if I've said this before, but outside of Formula One, Aston Martin is probably one of my top 3 favorite car companies in the entire world. I just fucking love all the cars they make, and man,
they do make some sexy cars.
Oh, it's so good. They make it hard to cheer for them, because
plus they're making it so
they're making it even harder, because I love Fernando Alonso. I've loved him since he was fucking a Ferrari, and even before then when he's at McLaren. But man, the Strolls, they make it tough. They make it tough.
Do make it tough.
Yep.
So I was really happy to see him tumbling down, and then it went right to an immediate safety car, and I was like, oh, because when I think if I remember correctly, they changed the live feed shot to his car in the runoff area behind the barrier, and then they're like, oh, safety car, and I'm like, what? So if I saw that, my next thought would be debris on the track. But then you usually get a virtual safety car for that. It is a whole fucking thing. But because of that, some interesting shit happened. Ferrari got a very good pit.
Yeah, they
super good. They have the fastest pit stop in every race so far.
Yeah, that was cool.
2 races in.
2 races in.
But still, that's good. It's pretty good. What was it like?
Especially against Red Bull? Jesus Christ.
Was it like?
And what I love about it is
2.2 or something.
2.1, I think.
It comes off as being like those like sports stats, which are always like my favorite when they're like, they had the fastest pit stop at the Saudi Arabian GP in the new era of F1 cars when Red Bull was
odd
leading
number of years.
An odd number of years when Red Bull was leading 1-2 when there was this
they get a little
56
crazy.
lap. Like they're like the sports stats get so it's such a long line. Dude, making it so fucking specific.
Watch a baseball game, you get so many stats thrown at you during the broadcast.
That's why I'm doing this. My old roommates, shout out Cody and M, they used to watch baseball, and this is like where I was thinking about that from, because the sports stats, it's just like, oh yeah, this is the first time he's gone up against a right-handed pitcher in the 3rd inning of a game in a series where they're leading 2-6, and the month of June when they're playing in Cincinnati, and it's like, whoa,
why?
I mean, but at the same time, like at some point, like you gotta be. It's like a sense of pride, right? So I watch a lot of amateur drag racing on YouTube, and usually you see the same guys coming up all the time. And there's this one dude who had this Acura Integra, right? And he's racing, and he finally beat this number, and he goes, "I am the fastest stick shift Acura Integra in the fucking world." That's pretty cool. Does everyone want to be the fastest stick shift Integra in the world? No. Is there at least 10 people? Probably. Maybe even more. But the fact that you are, I mean, that's pretty fucking cool.
Oh, yeah.
Just like maybe this guy wanted to be the first right-hand pitcher in history to pitch a shutout in 3 straight innings in Cincinnati on a Tuesday night where the game started at 5:10 p.m. and the hot dogs were half off. Maybe that's what he wanted to do as well.
You could argue that Tyler is the best person in our family to hold a flag and direct people to to keep people from entering a detour zone, even though they were supposed to go in there, that this family's ever seen.
And am I the only person in this family that has done traffic control? Yes. And that's also besides the point.
Right. 100%. I could argue that I'm the only person in our family that's ever lived in Missouri for longer than a year.
That's true. Also,
all right, we're getting a little off
where
subject
were we
here.
going with this?
This was the we were talking about the fastest pit times from
fastest
pit
times.
That's right. Okay.
So it's only 2, but it's still good. It's still
no, that's a good pit. I mean,
especially
I think
if you're Ferrari,
under
who
2.5 is a really good pit.
No, that is
but
something
Ferrari
for them
classically
to be
does
proud
shitty on their pits. So anytime they do a good pit, it's good.
Yeah.
It is
good. This year they've been pretty solid on their pit, so I think they've been doing the work. So that's nice to see that.
It is.
No, just to see the strategy and higher up stuff work well. That'd be great.
If I was going to describe Ferrari to a newcomer to Formula One, I would say
hot dog shit.
The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step.
And Ferrari takes 1 step forward and 3 steps backwards.
Yeah, feels like it's insane.
So someone that did not profit too well from the safety car pit, but then did profit, but then didn't profit, was
but then did profit.
Bernardo Alonso.
Fernando Alonso.
So Bernardo, he went in, he had a 5-second penalty. So
I see the F1 gods were smiling down on Alonso this weekend.
They were. He went in to serve his 5-second penalty, and he did not serve it. So at this point in the race, was found he did not serve it correctly, and I think that we're just going to keep on this tangent. So,
well, I noticed it straight away. I saw contact with that back lift.
Right, and here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I'll explain what happened, and then the appeal, and then why they had an appeal. So what happened was, as soon as the car hit the pit box, the jacks attached to it. Now, the rule says you cannot touch the car until the 5-second penalty has been served. So the jacks touched the car. They didn't serve the 5-second penalty properly. He has then, at the end of the race, they waited 35 laps to announce this. They didn't tell him before that he's getting a 10-second penalty, which was fucked up.
Yeah.
So he was on the podium, second place, getting all the third place.
He was third place, but it was his 100th podium. So that was big.
Yeah, he joined the Centurion Club, which is, I think there's only like 6-7 people.
Yeah, 6-7 people on that.
Vettel, Schumacher, Hamilton,
Prost.
And I don't think Senna was.
No,
I don't think Senna was part of that. He didn't.
He was racing long enough to join that club.
No, he didn't.
That's what happens when you don't hit your breaking points.
Netflix has announced that there's going to be like a biopic series about Ayrton Senna.
Yeah, I saw
interesting.
I saw one of the F1 meme pages that he had a 15-year-old girlfriend, and everyone's like, there was really the room was divided. The room was divided in the fact that, like, well, the age of consent in Brazil is 14, so and the other people were like,
dude,
that's still gross. A young child. You know,
my thing was gross. Like, I haven't looked into it. I hope it's not true, but I did see that photo, and it looks really photoshopped.
That could be also. I hope it's
not true, because that's gross, man. Come on.
Look, I love F1, but I will tell you right now, I don't know fucking shit about Senna. I know more about the race he died in than his racing career. Everyone, all the drivers all say Senna was the best. People watch this film and go, he was the best driver ever, but
it was a career cut short, because I think what they're saying is he could have done like more world champions. Right. You know, he would have been just, you know, Schumacher before Schumacher.
Right. Well, and we can talk about that.
Well, they raced together, so
on another podcast, we'll
get
deep dive on Senna someday.
But we have a race to talk about this time, so
yeah, we're on the subject of the penalty still. I don't really know how we got off on this tangent.
Well, that's how this podcast works, man. We just tangents just happen. We'll get back to the subject again.
So, we were talking about podiums and all that. Centurion Club. So, yeah, Fernando got into the Centurion Club, and he then was told that he had a 10-second penalty, which pumped him back behind Russell, and Russell got the trophy, literally taken from Alonso's hands to give to Russell, who then had it. He's like, "This is fucking."
Oh no shit!
Trophy.
It was, yeah.
I didn't see that.
It was just like,
that's crazy.
It didn't happen on the cameras, but afterward, it was like, he was like, they walked up and they pretty much just bullied me, gave me the trophy. They gave it to Russell, and he got, and then after that, it was then bullied, taken away from Russell and given back to Alonso, who then had more pictures taken in the garage. So the penalty happened because they touched the car before the 5-second penalty was up. That's why he got the 10-second penalty. When that happened,
was it the contact with the back lift, or was it? I saw there was a guy on the front left side, I think, who had his hand dangerously close.
So that with that angle with the hand, it does not prove beyond a reasonable doubt, which is what you get from camera footage. You have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
The back jack contacting the car but not lifting it, proven beyond a reasonable doubt. You can see the jack locking into place.
Yeah, I saw it as it happened. I was like,
now,
he made contact.
He did.
That's
here's
not
the thing.
good.
The first fuck them up was the fact they didn't tell them immediately that this was going to happen. They waited 35 laps.
Because that's something you would see like instantly. And I think like Fernando had said something, I don't know at what point, he was like, well, if they had told me I was going to have a 10-second penalty, I would have built my lead out to 11 seconds or some shit like that.
A little harder. So the rules state that no one can touch the car before the 5-second penalty, except for, and it says this almost specifically. I don't know the exact words, but it's vague enough, but specific enough to say that the jack man can, because the front jack guides the car into the pit. So whenever anyone is serving any kind of penalty for whatever, and no one's allowed to touch it, the front, well, the rule was meant to be written that the front jack only.
But they didn't specify enough.
It doesn't specify enough that the front jack only. So whenever you watch anyone serve a penalty, you will always notice that the front jack touches the car. It does not lift it up, but it touches the car because it guides it in. And the back jack kind of sucks into the back as well. Austin Martin read the rules and understood them to be that the jacks can touch the car, but nothing else can. And they didn't. They didn't lift the car at all. No one else touched it. You had that arm from the mechanic.
They got the jacks in a place was about it.
Exactly. But it doesn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt they touched it. So when the FIA said, no, you done fucked up, and they said, well, your fucking rules are fucked up, that's what caused him to get the 10-second penalty at the end of the race and taking the trophy away. And they said, no, your rules are fucked up. And that's what got them to go, you're right, they weren't worded well. So we're taking the 10-second penalty away. You done got yourself third place. Here's your trophy again.
Yeah, because I think they had also showed a lot of footage of people that were serving time penalties that the jacks touched the car, but nothing happened. They didn't get 10-second penalties beyond that.
Right. Yeah. It's just a bunch of silly bullshit. So I mean, good on the FIA for calling their own shit and being like, yeah, we fucked up. Here's your podium. Well, it sucks that it got to that point.
They called that one back, but what about that hand that was dangerously close up at the front right or the front left end?
Think you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that
he looked like he was like reaching to fucking touch the car.
Sure. But then I think like at the same time you also have to, I mean, you could just draw a straight hard line and saying that no one's allowed to touch the car at all, but
then you gotta hope he comes in and stops at the right point.
And then you have to readjust the car. Like it could end up taking like even longer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he would have to come in and stop, and then your front guy would have to come in and place his shit underneath.
But you could also argue, like, you know,
but that's a penalty, man. That's what penalties are for.
Well, if that's what penalties are for, then you shouldn't be allowed to serve them on caution laps.
That's true.
If you're serving a penalty to be punished, you should not be able to serve them on a safety car lap, because that turns out to
serve them during red flag periods too.
Yeah,
I mean, it still slows you down, but not enough to really make too much of a difference on a safety car. So I see what
you could argue that when the pack is stuck behind a safety car, a 5-second penalty would turn that pit stop instead of into a faster pit stop because the cars are slower into a regular race pit stop. So you're not really losing anything. 10-second penalty, sure, but a 5-second penalty, no.
It's not going to hurt you as much. No,
absolutely not. So I think that, you know, I mean, there is a lot to look at.
Sounded like Will Buxton right there. A 10-second penalty is not going to hurt you as much as a 5-second penalty. Or whatever I just said. That was totally backwards.
He's like the John Madden of Formula One.
Yeah, he's the John Madden of Formula One.
If you can get your pit stop done faster than anyone else, then you get back into the race quicker and you can win.
John Smoltz had the same kind of incident in the World Baseball Classic when he's talking about Team USA. He's like, Team USA wants to win these games. They're gonna have to hit, they're gonna have to score more runs than their opponent. Oh yeah, that's how the game works.
Is this the first year they're doing that World Baseball Classic?
No, it's been going on for a while. Japan's actually got the most wins.
Dude, I'm not surprised. Japan fucking loves baseball. Yeah. Japan loves baseball so much that so Japan has their own alphabet, their own fucking whatever the fuck, and they have the separate alphabet just for borrowed words from all the other countries. Baseball is spelled out and has an ancient Japanese word. That's how much they love it. They didn't give it a fucking borrowed word.
I love fucking how much they love baseball over there.
They
gave us Shohei Ohtani, who's a fucking Babe Ruth of our time.
They gave us Hideki Matsui. That guy could fire the ball from left field to first base, no problem. No cutoff thrower.
Ichiro Suzuki too. He was a great baseball player.
Yeah,
Ichiro's
he was a great player, but I had a lot of friends when he was in his prime that were Seahawks fans. They're not Seahawks, fucking Mariners fans.
And, Mariners fans.
And they were like, Ichiro Suzuki's the best Japanese player. And I'm like, have you ever heard of Hideki Matsui? Because he's fucking better.
You just want to, because he was with the Yankees. But Ichiro is better than Matsui. Sorry. More consistent, longevity, average. The dude was, you can't touch fucking
well, this has been the final episode of the Tire Preference Podcast. The entire fan base for tuning in.
Sorry,
we're gonna call ourselves the Stitch. It's gonna be a baseball podcast from now on.
Yeah, no shit. It's gonna be the Baseball Preference Podcast. We're just gonna change the logo a little bit so it's got stitching on it.
What kind of mud do you like to put on your ball before you pitch it?
They all use the same mud from New Jersey.
That's so American baseball too.
Yeah, and mud is their
mud
term
on
for
the ball.
steroids.
You ain't gonna fucking hit me, you fucking player.
There's one family with mud from New Jersey that muds up every professional baseball.
I think I saw them on Dirty Jobs.
Yeah, you probably did. It's a secret location where they get it.
Yep. It's like a special mud.
I have so many questions. But this isn't the podcast.
Anyway, well, you can ask me.
But it's a interesting ratio because you want enough mud on there, so the ball you get some grip.
Yeah,
but you don't want too much mud where the batter can't see the ball.
And what it does is it ages the ball a little bit. It ages a brand new ball to give it a little grip on it.
And mud dries over time, and then it just becomes.
Anyway,
mud dries over time, and becomes dirt. So like
F1.
How the fuck do you get it from New Jersey to fucking San Diego with it just not becoming dirt? Is there somebody that like flies with a box?
You got to overnight it. Yeah.
No, it goes to Rawlings, who makes the baseballs, and they mud them up. And then Anywho, we'll move on.
So are they trucking the mud in? Where's the factory? Like,
there's no factory for the mud.
Trucks break down on the side of the road when it's hot out, and mud turns to fucking dirt.
Walks up to this fucking husky dude in overalls.
Well,
honey, what do you do for a living? I'm a mud trucker. Fucking truck the mud.
Jesus Christ. I gotta get it.
It's like saying you work in the salt mines. I'm a mud trucker.
I got the brown lug.
I carry brown gold across this country.
Fucking mud trucking.
Ain't a goddamn baseball game start without mud from me mud trucking.
Right.
It's fucking.
Oh fuck! I forgot what I was gonna tell you guys. We came back from the break. I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you later. Let me write a little note down. It is the funniest fucking shit in the world, though.
So where were we talking about that penalty?
So the penalty happened. Blah, blah. Let's all catch up, and so that's why the penalty was all fucking wiggity.
I will say. I saw a Facebook post or it was Instagram, and it was from George Russell, and it was him tagging Fernando Alonso, asking what his address was for the trophy.
For the trophy.
I can appreciate that. Like, and even George Russell was like, I think the penalty was a little stiff, and to wait 35 laps to give it to him, I think was a little.
That's the thing, 35 fucking laps. And then that's when you decide.
Was that a team call to like, hey, we'll wait on this?
No, it's
FIA. FIA didn't hand it down until after the race. The only time it had come up was over George Russell's radio, and they said, "Hey, close the gap. He might have a penalty at the end of the race."
Yeah, that was when he was under investigation, I think. And it's the team will waste no time. Telling the driver that there's a penalty. Doesn't matter what it is. 5 second, 10 seconds.
Absolutely not.
I was a few beers in by the end of that, and I didn't really pay
because you don't have to all you have to do is close it within that time penalty. So the time penalty was 10 seconds, and Russell was 6 seconds behind him.
Right.
So that is what launched him into fourth place or third place for like 2 hours.
Right. So moving on with other kind of wiggity whack shit that happened in there. Alex Albon out on lap 29.
Yeah.
He had a brake issue.
Yeah, they kept calling it the B-ball, which, if you didn't know what that means, that's the brake balance. That's the slang term the crews, the teams use for brake balance is the B-ball. So I think he had a bit of a B-ball issue.
Well, the way he after they found out he had a brake issue, and then he passed up the pit lane.
Yeah, I thought that was strange.
As it felt like it was like he had no brakes, and he was going too fast to go into the pit lane.
You're probably pretty dead on, Dave. I think you probably hit the nail on the head there.
Because he limped around the rest of the track and went slowly back into the pits.
I know. I thought that was kind of weird too. Like they call, hey, they said something about him having a brake issue or something like that. I don't know if they played audio or what. And then he blows by the pit lane and then keeps rolling. I was like, is he trying to force like another like red flag,
safety car or something?
Safety car or something? You know, it's like. But he's a Red Bull driver driving for Williams, who's sponsored by Mercedes. I was like, so who fucking called him?
Fucking knows, yeah. Who got in his ear?
Yeah.
So
he's got the devil and the angel on his shoulders. It's Christian Horner and Toto Wolff. Yeah.
They probably change like intermittently. Like Total Wolf will start out as an angel, but he'll go to the devil side, and Christian Horner's just like, change your fucking car.
Yeah, no shit.
But no, I think he probably did. He's probably coming a little too hot, especially after that turn 27, getting straight on. And if you are having brake issues, it's 100% just a safety concern. You just don't go into the pits if you're going full tilt, but can't do nothing. Yeah. And I think you're right. He did sandbag that next lap, and he's probably doing like a lot of like slowing down, using his downshifting and his drag a lot, and probably just downshifted to like excessively into turn 27 and then just kind of coasted in. Because even when he stopped, like he stopped a little late from
he just kind of rolled
box.
in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what my immediate thought was. Like, he has no brakes. Because he just blew by the pit, and he was going which was kind of weird because turn 27 and then that little bit of long straight you have to the pit lane. I think he could have maybe slowed it down unless he had just way too much momentum.
Right. No, definitely.
I don't know if he hit the gas after the thing and was like, well, that was a bad idea.
Right.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah. Oh, I got to coast another lap.
Like, I forgot I don't have brakes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was unfortunate because I like Albon. I think he's a great driver, and his time with Red Bull was kind of like mirrored to fucking Gasly's time with Red Bull, where they didn't. It was brought in too early, didn't get a good enough shot, and then
they were both hot dog shit.
I mean that's how Red Bull scrambles though. They're like, fuck, we got caught in our back foot. Let's throw this young kid in there, see how he does. Let's revert back to the Max Verstappen
formula.
Yeah,
let's find out. That's a unicorn,
didn't work.
Man.
It didn't work with them twice in a row.
No, it didn't twice in a row.
Yeah.
Only twice so far, really, with Vettel and Verstappen, both V last names. Did they bring a young rookie in and then suddenly fucking completely, absolutely dominate the sport for the few years that they were racing?
Well, those are also two above average drivers. These guys are like supreme in their position. Well, at least were.
There's so many drivers that are going to be changing their last name, and Logan Vasargent with Williams.
I think that it's safe to say that this week's official Tire Preference podcast good get was Red Bull getting Verstappen.
Absolutely.
That was the good get of the week. Yeah, just
it's funny. They like banked on that so early.
It was a good get.
Yeah.
A great get.
Solid.
Even. Yeah.
And they've got him locked in till 2028 or some shit.
2028 until he commits a felony for not finishing first place
and stabs somebody with a fork.
Where would he go after this? Like, he's driving for Red Bull and they're winning, and like Ferrari and Mercedes are not doing all that well. So like, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see later in his career, like if Red Bull wanes again, like after Vettel, and see where like Verstappen ends up and how he does there.
I think that like one of two things is going to happen, and one of them is such a small chance. Here's the small chance, and it's not just Ferrari. It at this point we'll call it Ferrari, Mercedes, or Aston Martin. He goes to one of those teams to prove to everyone that he is so good he can get a big dub with one of the lesser teams. Now that's quits because he can't. Small chance. The bigger chance is when he wants to retire, he realizes it ain't gonna be better than Red Bull. I'm gonna fuck off, and then he's just going to leave because he's not going to put himself in a situation where he can't just win. And that's something else I want to talk about this race. Is everyone was talking about how impressive Max Verstappen's drive was because he started in 15th and he finished in 2nd. But did you guys happen to see, I'm not even going to say 90% of the passes, all of the passes he did that fucking race?
Yeah, nobody blocked, nobody was defending.
Yeah,
they just let him go by.
They let him go by.
He coasted his way from 12th into
at least 5th,
2nd.
Yeah,
and then by maybe 5th, he had
when he got to 7th. When he got to like 7th place, and you're talking like you have Sainz, Leclerc, Russell. It was after he passed Hamilton. So it was like Sainz, Leclerc, Russell, and I think Alonso or whatever. When he got those guys,
he passed Alonso at lap 25.
Well, that's when all of the fucking I think he passed a lot of the front runners during that caution, that safety car where they were all pitting. Like he passed, and it wasn't even just all at the same time. Like he passed a lot of the front runners, quote unquote, like 7 and above, just when they were pitting. So there wasn't even a fucking fight because everyone's doing this thing nowadays where they're just racing where they can finish. We're not going for first place. We're going, we know we can finish 5th. We're not trying for 4th. We know 5th is the best. Don't fight for Verstappen when he comes up because you're just going to fuck your tires. And the guy that behind you in 6th place that also wants 5th is going to take it at the end. So just let him by. And because of that is why he was able to scoot himself up to the top.
Yeah, I don't like to see did you see that? That was such a great race for Verstappen. He just went by everybody. He went from fucking 15th or whatever the fuck, 14th to 2nd. Well, it's like, yeah, but a lot of them just let him go by.
Right.
Yeah. They don't want to mess up their cars. They don't mess up their tires. They got a strategy. They're not racing him.
No. Yeah, especially this early in the season too,
yeah.
Okay. I think that might have had something to do with it where like, yeah, you should be fighting for points, but
There was only one person on the track. Verstappen was racing, and that was Perez.
Yeah, and as soon as Verstappen got into second place, all of a sudden the pace dropped. Like he was not gaining on Sergio Perez at all. And you could hear that radio transmission where they're like, hey, yeah, you need to target these laps. And it was like,
what was up with that? That sounded like they were like, hey, Perez, slow down so Verstappen can catch up and get first. What the fuck is that about?
It's Red Bull. They have a very clear number one driver, number two driver, and I think
have done that.
They probably told Sergio Perez when he came in, they're like, if you at the start of the season, like, yeah, you can race and you're doing a good job, but like this is the Verstappen show right now. Like he is the number one driver.
I fucking hate that. Let them race, man.
I think they should
prove who's the best. Unless they're getting too wild where they're gonna start fucking up, team strategy. Let them fucking race. They got superior cars. They're gonna be one or two.
Right.
Let them race.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It's like we'll see the better driver.
With they're real close on points, so it could be a really close season because Red Bull, like, they don't get paid if Max is the champion. They get paid if Red Bull is the constructors champion.
Yeah.
So I don't think Red Bull like gives two shits of who's winning.
Right.
But at the same time, like,
no, they probably get they favor Max.
They get a whole fuckload more money. It's like sponsorship and I don't know, money if Verstappen wins.
Well, and fuck, like, how much of a dick move was it for? Yeah. Last thing I'm going to say before we'll cut. Sorry, I know Dave hates this when we do this.
Yeah, we'll come back and bullshit about Yost.
This all stays in just because.
But the last thing I'm going to say is how much of a fucking dick move was it for Red Bull to say to Verstappen, you need to increase your lap time to take fastest lap from Perez, and then not tell Perez that that's what Verstappen was doing. It wasn't until the cool down room that he was like, "Oh, you took fastest lap from me, so you could get 1 point ahead of me in the fucking constructors championship."
Well, it matters to Verstappen, apparently.
It does. He has to be number one.
He said he didn't come out to get second place. He came out to win.
He's a cunt. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Sorry, Dave, I didn't give you the pause. I just used to just going. Yeah, that's pretty much that was the Jeddah Grand Prix. Well,
I mean, there was let's go through them real quick. There was some good battles with Magnussen and Tsunoda.
Thanks. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. There was a lot of good battles in the midfield, which really is where you should be watching Formula One now, is the midfield. That's where all the excitement's happening.
Yeah.
The front of the race is just not fun. Other exciting things is, you got
to see McLaren battle with their car a little bit too. That was cool.
Right.
Well, it was fun.
I mean,
I see Lance Stroll go off because of some issues. That's always fun.
Mm-hmm. Williams had a problem. Big surprise there. No way.
I feel really bad about Logan Sargent. He was doing so good for so long.
Yeah, he was.
He had that Williams up in the top 10. He was like flirting with finishing with points, and like I think it was like the last 15 to 20 laps, he just started dropping. I think his tires just hit the shelf and went off.
Yeah, he couldn't push anymore.
And I'm not just saying this because he's the only American driver out there, but I really think so far out of the two races, and I know that like we've only really seen one race out of Piastri, but I think we've got to watch out for Logan Sargent because like we were all really impressed with De Vries coming in on Monza last year and getting points with that Williams.
Yeah.
And who did he outscore?
Latifi.
Yeah, outscored Latifi.
He outscored Latifi. But Logan Sargent really hasn't been doing that much worse than De Vries, and De Vries really hasn't delivered like he did that day. So
yeah,
I think we're really gonna watch out for Logan there.
Yeah, granted we're only 2 races in, but I mean he's impressed me. The first race was clean. Second race, he didn't have any
first race
big.
He didn't finish.
It was still clean though.
It was still clean.
He didn't finish because he didn't wad himself up into a wall.
I thought he had a DNF.
No, he didn't DNF. Did he?
No, he may have, but I thought it was a mechanical issue.
I'm pretty sure he did DNF.
Logan Sargent on his first race. I don't know if he.
No, you're right. He didn't. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of fucking qualifying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like pre-race, before race stuff.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is.
Let's say I thought his first race was clean, and I was kind of proud. Like, okay, he went through. He didn't hit nobody. No controversy. He just finished the race.
He finished a lap down.
Did fairly well, but whatever.
But yeah, he's definitely someone to watch out for. Could take Rookie of the Year.
Good.
Piastri also. I mean, he did pretty well. He finished above Norris, so fuck.
Yeah, I think McLaren's going to be battling themselves this year.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Are kind of turning out.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good year for McLaren. I don't think,
unless they can come up with some really good upgrades.
Right. Well, with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and I don't think I did this last time, but I was doing this last season. I think I'm going to break down the top 10 for you guys.
Break it down.
You did do that last podcast, I think.
You did break down the top 10 of the last race, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, your top 10 breakdown is going to start with Sergio Perez got first place, which is funny because he's got 2 1s in his number, which is 2, but he didn't finish second place 1. And 1 Max Verstappen. Look, it's just sad when you got a number and you finish lower than that number. Just don't pick a low number. Always pick a high number, and that'll never happen to you. But it's
don't change your number to 1 if you're a champion for the first time.
If you're not going to get first place every time, it's sad and terrible.
To be number 1. It's like an earned thing.
Sure, but
Hamilton just never did it.
Goddamn, is it embarrassing to see 2 and then a 1 next to it because you were number 1, but you weren't number 1 this race. So are you really number 1? Fernando Alonso came in third place and followed by Russell, followed by his teammate, the number 1 Mercedes driver, Hamilton, which is really funny. Sainz, the number 2 driver, also finishing up above the number 1 driver for Ferrari, Charles Leclerc. Then you have Ocon and Gasly, and I think Ocon's the number 1 driver for Alpine, but I could be wrong about that. Rounding out your top 10 is number 20, Magnussen.
That's 20 though.
Top 10. Yeah.
Also in the top 10. Yeah. Gasly would have been a lot better for him to finish in 10th place. That would have been his golden finishing area because he's number 10. And so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They had a good battle there for 2 laps. Where they really fought hard against each other. And then I think Magnussen won out on that. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, he did. Tsunoda ended up passing Hulkenberg. So we'll do a Hulkenberg update because the Hulk's back. So he finished 12th overall. Your best of the rookies is going to be De Vries, then Piastri, and then Logan Sargent. They finished 14th, 15th, and 16th, respectively. Sargent running the points for a while. Also, Sargent's car number is number 2, which I think is a lot of fun.
Nice. Second Amendment.
Oh, God damn it. I didn't even want to make that connection. Son of a bitch.
Love that shit. So you are not going to get a race prediction because we don't have a race next weekend.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. I was looking forward to one, and then I looked at the calendar and I was disappointed.
Yeah, I got real fucking sad. Yeah, we are waiting all the way until March 31st, which should be the next not this Sunday coming up, but the one after.
Yeah. You know what sucks about that? I'm gonna be on the road, so I better hope the place I'm staying at that night has fucking Wi-Fi or something. Because I don't have
Cross on fingers.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to wait till I get back home in Missouri to watch the game. The race, and that's like 3 days later.
Right.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to stay silent with memes for that long.
You just have to leave 3 days early and just watch it with me at my house.
Yeah, just leave Florida now.
I would love to. Oh, I would fucking love to.
Yeah.
Contractually obligated to not leave until
I don't burn bridges. Yeah.
Right.
Except for that one.
I would love to. But yeah.
That race is going to start locally for me at 3 p.m. Tyler will be at 1 p.m. for you. That's in Australia. So next week when
I think
the next race is the Aussie race.
I think it starts late.
No, it's
like for us.
It should be Sunday at 1500 my time, so that's
3
No
o'clock.
way for Australia. Australia is a day race, so that happens. That's been because that was the first race of the season for a long time. And that always started at 10 p.m.
That's probably hold on. Let
race
me check
is
on
at 1 o'clock.
That's probably local time.
100. So that's 1 a.m.
That's 1 a.m.
Yeah. So it's fucking 10 p.m. for me.
12 a.m. for me.
It's 1 a.m.
Saturday going into Sunday. Yeah. So I was looking at the local
I'm not going to be
time
watching that anyway. I'll be sleeping.
We'll see. I might be able to 10 p.m. I might be able to make it for that one.
I'm gonna have to be
I'm gonna stay up and watch
I'm gonna be driving between days. There's no way I'm gonna stay up and watch that race.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like one of my favorite things, I don't know why this is, but one of my favorite things about F1 was back in the day when they really didn't care about the global audience too much, and like Tyler and I had to wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to watch like the Japanese Grand Prix or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I loved going to bed at like 10 o'clock, thinking, man, I'm gonna get up in like 3 hours and watch this fucking Formula One race and go back to bed for an hour and then go to work. I love that shit. I don't know why.
Yeah, or oh fuck yeah, we're gonna stay. The race starts at 11. Cool, we could stay up, and then you're by the end of it, and it was just like the Lewis Hamilton winning area. You're like,
right.
Okay, yeah. Just end.
There's a couple of times where we're watching Lewis Hamilton do his victory lap, and we're like, can we just finish this fucking race?
Yeah, I don't need to see the podium. We're done.
All right, a couple of friends I was like, hey, you want to come over and watch this F1 race? And oh yeah, when's it start? And I'm like, 3 o'clock. And that's not too bad. In the morning.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's why F1 TV is so great to have, folks.
It really is. And before when I didn't have a job where I was off every Sunday, that's the only way I watched the races. And you can cast it to your smart TV. It's just a great thing. So if you don't have it and you want to watch F1, just get the F1 TV app. It's so fucking worth it. Only way I watch it.
I hope they hear this and they gave us a plug.
Yeah.
We'll maybe we get an endorsement deal out of it.
Well, I think with that, we're gonna go ahead and close out here at the old Tire Preference Podcast. We, as always, thank you so much for listening every week. We pump out this stuff haphazardly. Half-assed. I mean, we put some effort into it, but
there's effort, but there's also a lot of half-assery.
Yeah, there's a lot of half-assery here.
I mean, it is as advertised. We are just a bunch of guys having beers, drinking, and talking about F1, which is
honestly, I still look at it as just a good way to talk to some buddies once a week.
100%. Yeah,
that I don't get to because I'm remote and I'm not at home, so I get to hang out with some buds.
This saves my fiance for me. Like Sunday afternoon, be like, "Can you believe the fucking outrage of this race?" And she's like, "That's great.
Yeah, save it for Wednesday."
Yeah, that's awful. Can we go to the grocery store now?
Well, as always, I am Jake, along here with Tyler.
Hi.
And Dave.
Hey, everybody.
At least Tyler didn't fucking wave this time. If you want to follow our social media antics, which really aren't anything because we're all just fucking too busy with our goddamn personal lives to do anything on them, but you can follow me at the Red Kennedy 45 on Instagram, the Red Kennedy on Twitter. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Preference Pod. You can follow it on YouTube at the Tire Preference Podcast. You can follow any of your favorite podcast sites at the Tire Preference Podcast. Tyler, where can we find you on the social medias?
T.K.66 on Instagram, and that's it. That's what the only social media I do. Yeah.
And Dave.
Yeah, you always find me at Maximum_Dave and featuring next Friday on the Instagrams.
Yeah, that's all. If you didn't know, that's a little account that Dave and his wife have about their travels, and they post some really good pictures. You guys do a lot of fun stuff out there on being nomads.
Cool, so one's a personal, just me, and then one's me and the wife, and we do some cool stuff and post some cool pics. So if you enjoy that,
Dave and Andy do things.
We do things.
They're out there being more active than most people. So go live vicariously through them and watch all their cool shit. And if you want to live vicariously through video game playing, you can follow Dave on his YouTube channel at Schnickelfritz, which is damn near impossible to spell. So
it's just linked to the YouTube page of Tire Preference Podcast, so that helps.
Right. Yeah. Just don't forget there are 4 E's in preference, because I do all the time.
Yeah, there are too.
Yeah, you can find the his YouTube channel linked on the Tire Preference Podcast YouTube.
It's just the easiest way to find it.
It's the easiest way to find it. Yeah.
Stuff.
Well, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and say keep within track limits.
I'm gonna say fuck the track limits and fuck the braking zones. Just hit the gas.
Well, yeah. Tyler's gonna be like the fucking racing coach for the next dead driver on the track. So make sure you hit your braking points, and then you come out, hit the gas, stay within track limits.
That sounds like some last place ass shit you're saying there.
Yeah. Last place in the fucking hospital.
Hospital. Casket.
If you ain't first, you're last. One of the greatest quotes ever.
All right. Well, thank you, bastards, for listening so much. We'll catch you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right. Love y'all.